I feel like I'm about to teach a class. I feel like I'm a teacher here. So, class is in session. Sit down, please. Take your seats. We'll get into the video. Hey everyone, and welcome back. That doesn't feel right. That's not right. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, I'm Mand, and this is Jackie Daytona, just a regular human bartender. And today we are doing a really cool, fun VR, chatty, because you really like the chatty videos, and I'm here for that. It's VR 2 Hidden Magic Tarot. Had to write the name down because wouldn't remember otherwise. And it's 7 things I wish I'd known sooner with learning tarot. I think I got the title wrong. I'll make sure to tag the original below. But I seen Nikki T over at... Nikki, what's your channel name? Moonchild? Yeah. Anyway, I'll tag Nikki's channel below. I'm so sorry, Nick. I'm dire with channel names, and sometimes I also forget names. So that's a fun thing, right? That's a fun thing. So, have a sip of your drink. Relax. This is going to be like a really chill class. Don't even worry about it. Honestly, I don't think I could be a teacher. I don't think I could. Not like a secondary school or anything like that. I don't know what it's called in other countries, but that's kind of like the school you go to before college. No thanks. I hated school, so we're not even doing that. Right, let's get into it because we're just going to have fun. We're going to chit chat. I have no idea where I'm looking because normally I'm doing like the desk video. That didn't even sound right. Anyway, so I wrote down 7 things that I wish I had known sooner when learning tarot. I think that's the title. I'm probably wrong, so we're just going to accept that. Shall we just get into it? I think we shall. So the first point I wrote, in no particular order here, is intuition is key. First of all, is this not the cutest pen? I feel like I need to have something in my hand for some reason. Is the little cow cute? And I feel very academic, like, look at me. Anyway, intuition is key is what I've written down here. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by intuition is key? Your intuition is one of the most important things when learning tarot. But first, learn the basics, okay? So, like I said, learning basics, yet, but build. So, I just wrote down a few little phrases and things like that. So what I mean by that is your intuition is something that you will really want to hone in on and build over time when you're learning tarot. So of course, pick a system that works for you. You don't have to, I suppose that could be a second point, really, couldn't it? Like picking a tarot system that works for you. So someone might be Marseille. Fair play to you for picking a PIP system. I don't think I could. RWS or Rider-Waite-Smith seems to be the most popular choice to go with. So personally, that's one that I went with myself because it was just the easiest one to start off with. But you can do Thought, you can do, or is that Thoth? You don't even have to do tarot. I started off originally doing angel cards and oracle decks and then went into tarot. So there's no right or wrong way in how to get into tarot or how you start off, really, to be honest. I don't even, personally, this is just my opinion, I don't even think you have to start off with an original Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Do I think everyone should have one in their collection at the very least? Yes, but I'm definitely one that prefers more clones to the actual original Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I've yet to find an RWS deck that I'm like, oh, I really like this one. So I'm still on the search for one that I'm like, I enjoy that system. And then building on your intuition after that, because you can only work with the basics for so long, and then once you start kind of reading the cards, you kind of realize, okay, the keywords and the key phrases and, you know, the meanings behind the card, that's perfectly fine, but how can you apply it to a daily card, spreads? Maybe you want to explore a little bit more with it. There's a lot you can actually do with tarot, and maybe you want to read for others. So you don't want to just stick with the basics. You want to make sure that you're kind of listening to that inner voice of your own as well. So making sure that at some stage you do learn to put away the book and see what are the images trying to tell you. You know, start building on your own encyclopedia in your mind of certain symbolisms. What do these colors mean to you? What does this mean to you? And start building from there. Number 2 is find your own style of reading, right? So everyone that you watch can totally be an inspiration, and you can totally, you know, pick and choose and, you know, get ideas from others, but explore your own style of reading. Okay, so a lot of us tend to like to do daily card pulls, and so for some people that could be one card. It could be one tarot card, it could be one oracle card, it could be, for me personally at the moment, the way my readings are going, it's one tarot, one oracle. I have a weekly card, and then I'm also doing a tarot challenge on top of that. So it's 3 cards a day that I'm pulling in the morning especially. So again, you want to see what works for you in your practice. Is it morning cards? Is it afternoon cards? Is it evening cards, night cards? Is it all of the above? Do you just like to have them all the time and be pulling constantly? I personally don't, because I'm like, I have other things I need to get done too. So, you know, but there's definitely days where I feel like I'm going to my maybe a deck a lot more than what I would originally. So finding a style that is your own, right? So what is it that works for you? So just because so and so does 3 cards in the morning with just tarot, and then maybe 2 cards of oracle in the evening, that works for them. You might try that and go, oh, I find this totally overwhelming and it doesn't work for me. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to explore. Try different styles of reading. Try different card pulls. Try to see what is, you know, different times of the day. Maybe one week try just morning pulls, right? And then maybe another week try, you know, evening pulls or afternoon pulls or whatever way it is. So yeah, I do feel like it took me a long time to realize that I could explore the cards in my own way. I don't have to do it a particular way, because I know coffee break, very important. I know some people, not that I have seen personally, but I know some people can come across that this is the way to do it and this is the only way to do it. And I know I felt that at the start of my journey, that I felt like this is the only way I can read tarot, especially tarot, because it's a system, right? Oracle is a little bit more fluid, kind of. So I found tarot a little bit trickier because it was the system that was throwing me off, because I'm like, oh, well, maybe I have to do a whole Celtic spread, or I have to do it this way. You don't. I think it was Simon at the Hermit's Cave said it, like, tarot is kind of like oracle as well. You know, it is still a form of cartomancy. So again, explore that. See, hello here, what are you doing today? Exploring different styles. Where was I going right in this? This is so... No, but this is actually really important, is don't buy into trends. Don't buy into trends. Again, finding your own style. Okay. I definitely... Now, I was very fortunate because when I got into tarot many moons ago, tarot tube was very small. So there was only a few tarot tubers about. So there wasn't many decks to be got, to be fair, especially mass market. A lot of it was oracle, kind of. And of course, this was like Doreen Virtue era as well. So they were kind of the only cards as such that were kind of available that I could get anyway here in Ireland at the time. Excuse me. And so the tarot deck selection was very, very small. So once, you know, as the years have gone on and there's been more creators and, you know, a lot more companies are picking up a lot more decks, they're creating more decks, there's a lot more variety. Now, with variety and a lot more choices can cause overwhelm, because now it's like, well, what is it that I want to work with, what style? So trying to find a deck style that suits you. And again, this is very open, because at the end of the day, Some of the decks that you might feel drawn to might fit a certain section in your life, and then other decks might fit another section. So you might, for example, here you can see behind me, I have lots of decks, right? I have my Green Witch here. That's my coming home deck. When I feel overwhelmed and I'm feeling a little bit scattered or just need to be gathered a bit more, that's my coming home deck. It's a deck I held off getting for a very, very long time, but I'm glad I got it. So you might find there might be certain decks that you don't feel drawn to and you're kind of like, I don't know, is it my cup of tea? That's totally fine. The great thing about mass market for the most part is a lot of them are super affordable. So you can at least try it out. Walkthroughs are great as well in that sense. And I'm not just saying that because I do walkthroughs here. But they're a great way to get a sense of what a deck looks like. You mightn't get the initial energy or feel, but at least you can visually see what a whole deck looks like if you wanted to. You might find that you're drawn to more witchy decks. You might find that you're drawn to more kind of anime manga style decks. You might find that you like more watercolored base, or what else do I have? I have a whole load. It's a complete mix. Collage is another one. I really like collage decks. So again, exploring different types of decks. Yes, of course, we all fall for trends. I'll hold my hands up. I don't mind saying that. I'll happily hold my hands up and say I've definitely bought into the hype of certain decks, but try not to feel that pressure at the same time. You don't feel like you have to get a deck just because everybody else is hyping it up. I've definitely bought into it a few times. Sometimes it has worked, other times it has not. It has fallen flat for me and I'm kind of like, oh, everybody loves this deck and now I don't love it. Because I know a lot of people don't like the Light series, and I love the Light series, and that was definitely hyped up. So there's the kind of, you're going to have people who are going to like it and people who don't. So don't let that deter you from getting a deck just because somebody else maybe within the community or somebody in your own life doesn't like the deck. The thing is, at the end of the day, it has to work for you, and that's the most important, because you know, it's not so and so that's working with the deck, it's you that's working with it. So excuse me. So building that relationship is very important. Now, again, I don't envy anyone that's starting out now because it's very overwhelming. And which deck do you pick? It's very hard to decide. Well, not hard, it's just a lot more challenging. So definitely finding a style of deck that works for you. Okay, and this kind of actually ties into this one. Everyone is going to have an opinion on tarot, okay? Make sure you find your own. And what do I mean by that is everybody is going to have an opinion on how you should read tarot, what deck you should get, how you should do spreads, maybe even who you should follow. You know, this person's information is right, this person's information is wrong. Find your own. Too much noise can cause too much confusion. We can get too caught up in our head, and like if you're anything like me, what happens then is I don't want to do it at all because I'm like, this is just too much, and it shouldn't be. Tarot should be something that is fun. It should be. There's a delivery, so I'm gonna have to pause this now. 1 second. Okay, we're back in session. Because sometimes they knock on the door and it's like they're trying to bait it down. Anyway, where was I? Everyone's going to have an opinion. And also you're going to have those that don't believe in it either, right? And some people can be a bit snotty about it. I'll just put it just plain and simple. Some people can be really snotty about it. But to be fair, for the most part, a lot of people are just curious. They just want to know what it is that you're doing. Especially when they find out that you read tarot or oracle or angel cards or anything like that. They're just nosy as well. So you're just going to have a whole mix of opinions. So I suppose it's important to kind of set boundaries. It's something that I wish I kind of had learned a little bit sooner. Next one, which I suppose I'll actually tie in this one first into it, is not a party trick. Not a party trick. And like that, when people find out that you read tarot, they tend to want you to read their cards, and then you kind of feel this pressure, and then you just feel awkward, and you kind of just like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, leave it with me and I'll get back to you. No, I'm not a party trick. I'm not here to prove anything to you. And once you kind of have that, I think boundaries and learning that you're not here to have to pull out cards for, unless you want to, obviously. You're more than entitled to do your readings how you want. You don't, when you're learning tarot, you don't necessarily have to learn to read for others. You can just learn to read for yourself if that's what you want to do. Again, it's up to yourself. Don't let anybody tell you what you should and shouldn't do when it comes to tarot, oracle, any of that, right? But it's something that now I was told pretty soon in my journey, but at the same time I did feel that kind of still pressure, even though I was told, like, you know, you're not there to answer everyone's questions the minute they need an answer, okay? You're not obligated to. So it's extremely important to know that you're not a party trick. What you're doing, personally, in my opinion, is very sacred. It's a spiritual journey. Again, that's just in my opinion. I know people approach tarot in many different ways, and that's totally fine. But it's not something, personally, again, I really want to reiterate this because I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, but that's not how I see it. That's totally fine. You're entitled to that opinion as well, absolutely. But it's not something, I don't think anyway, that is to be done just for the laugh. Of course, if you're with like a group of friends and you want to pull some cards, whatever, that's totally fine, whatever. But I just don't think that you have to do it for somebody who just happens to find out that you're a tarot reader or an oracle card reader or an intuitive reader like myself. You don't have to. You're not obligated to. And it's just, yeah, in my head sometimes I'm like, it's just that simple. So, another thing, and I feel like this is so important, tarot is just a tool, okay? It's a tool that helps us decipher what we already have within us, okay? And I know you hear probably a lot of people say it, like, the answers are always within you, and you're probably like, no, they're not. I was able to get it from my cards. Yes, but it was you that used the cards, and it was you that had the answer the whole time. Tarot was just the tool to help you decipher the answer, or maybe the viewpoint that you might have just overlooked. So again, it's really important to know that the answers has always been within you this whole time. It's not something that you need external validation on or anything like that. Kind of. It's a tricky one, but I suppose sometimes we look to our cards as if there's just these magical 78 pieces of just wonder, and they are. But don't let it be a crutch, is what I'm trying to say here. I suppose, like, absolutely you can use it on a healing journey, but don't get so hooked on looking for the answers within tarot when the answer has always been within yourself as well. Does that make sense? Again, I still don't think there's anything wrong with getting readings from other people, because they're able to give you perspectives and viewpoints and seeing things that you're like, oh yeah, no, I never thought of it that way, or I never was able to see it that way. It helps you kind of look past because sometimes when we read for ourselves, we can maybe be a bit biased and probably, little rose tinted glasses, so we don't want to see certain things. So then when somebody else points it out, it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And last but certainly not least is, again, this one's in my own opinion, okay? I don't know how many will agree or disagree, but I always felt like this desperate pressure that I had to do a big spread to get a good reading, and I don't think that's true. You do not need to do a big Celtic spread, because it's one that I have not done in many, many years, okay? I have not done a Celtic spread in many years because it overwhelms me. I just can't. There's just too many. Like, I could whack out 10 cards there for you on the table just intuitively and let it flow, and I'm perfectly fine. put it into a structure, and my brain just goes, pfft. I don't even know, wait, what's that card? Now I have to refer back to this. And then you can totally intuitively make up your own spreads as you're going as well. You can intuitively, it's how I read, I intuitively feel where the cards need to go. Trust your intuition. Again, back to point one. Intuition is so key for me personally anyway. If you read like me, then intuition is so incredibly important. Yes, I still love reading and learning, because again, I'm adding to that encyclopedia in my brain, you know, adding to the knowledge and adding to the information, and I'm able to, you know, work with that. And then the cards are able to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like floating there in my head. The cards are able to help me with that, right? So the more you know, the more you can relay and all that. But you do not need to do a big massive spread to get a really good reading. You can get amazing readings out of 3 cards. You can get amazing messages from 1 card. You do not need 50 cards out on the table. If that's your jam, you want to do that. I love that. I love watching people like flake out loads of cards, and they're doing like massive spreads, and they're like, this is what this one is, and this is how they're connected. I'm like, oh my god, you're magic. I cannot do that. No, well, I could, but my brain just can't. The minute I try and do it, it's not me. That's what it is at the end of the day. It's not me. It's not how I do it. I like trying spreads. I like experimenting, because again, that's how you learn. It's true experiment. It's true trial and error. It's true trying. And I really think maybe this is the 8th bonus point, is that it is so incredibly important to experiment, to have fun, explore, make it a fun thing. Don't make it a job. I think the minute you try and make it into like too much of schoolwork, now I don't know if you're like me, but school was just not a good time, it's going to become just not fun. You want to have fun with it, and that's the point. I think that's why a lot of us here now in the community, we love learning now. Might not have in school, or we might have had our own way that we like to learn in school. I've always enjoyed learning. I just didn't like the school structure, the school system. It didn't work for me. Now, I think I'm far more studious now than I ever was. So again, I do think it's important to have so much fun with it, because through fun, you're learning. And I always feel like that. If you're having fun, you're learning. You know, when you're learning something, you're having fun, you're still learning. It's good. You don't have to take it completely serious. You don't have to be completely academic about it. And you don't have to be like totally studious. You can totally have fun by painting the cards and seeing how that is making you feel. You can get as creative as you want. You can journal. You can make a whole bunch of books. You can do whatever way works for you. So yeah, they're the 7 things I wish I had known sooner when I started learning tarot. I think it would have made my journey a little bit easier. I do feel like I got overwhelmed at the start, because I felt like I had to learn all the keywords, which is, yes, learn the basics. Again, like I said, learn the basics, but like try and incorporate your intuition at the same time. I do think the way I did it would probably work better for me, because I started with angel cards, oracle cards, and then got into tarot. So, but then I found it hard to stick to a structure system. So again, everybody's going to be different. How you approach it is totally up to yourself. But I would say approach it with a very curious mind and fun. Have fun with it. I think that's the most important thing out of it. The whole lot. If there was anything you were to pick up from this, have fun when learning it. And like, don't be afraid to explore, experiment, connect with other people, ask them the questions. I think that's another thing. Maybe some people might be a bit too secretive about like how they do. Don't be. This is why we make these videos, is so that like you can see. And, you know, to me, it's more than just showing you the decks. I also want to show you how I work with the decks, or how they fit into my practice, and how I felt about them, and what way the cards resonated. Because again, every deck, and I know a lot of us personify our decks, and I think that's really amazing, because they do. Each deck has a different personality. I mean, just for example here, all these decks here do not feel the same. The Starman does not feel the same as the Steel Tarot. I'm gone off. The Steel Wizard Tarot, sorry, is not the same as my Green Witch Tarot. And my Green Witch is not the same as the Celtic Book of Dead. That's an oracle, actually. But it's not the same as the Hedge Witch. It's not the same. Yes, they're all tarot, or the Celtic Book of the Dead, because that's an oracle. But they're not the same energy. They all fit completely different, right? And that's what it is. It's all about exploration. It's having fun. And don't like, yeah, take it serious, obviously, right? Approach it with great respect, but have fun with it. Don't be up in arms about learning everything, because there's 78 cards, and if you read reversals, excuse me, I don't know how many more that is. I'm not good at maths, so do the maths there for me. Thank you. And you know, you're going to get overwhelmed. That's a lot of meanings, and that's a lot of information to hold. So take your time. There's no rush. You'll hear a lot of people, even those that have been reading 20, 30, 40 years. I'm still a student. I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning. So, there you go. None of us are, you know, like, enlightened masters. Ew, I made myself cringe, but you know what I mean? Yes, there's loads of people who are well advanced and well knowledgeable on it, but they too were still students of tarot. You always will be. I always feel like you always will be. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that helped. Maybe if you had any worries or qualms about starting tarot, that this may have eased your journey on it. And if you are just starting out with tarot, I wish you the very best of luck. And let me know below, what was your first deck? What deck did you start out on your tarot journey? Mine was the Crystal Visions Tarot. It's a US Games. I've shown it before. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Remember, stay magical. I'll see y'all next video. Bye guys.